It's another video from Ozzy's Robot. Brought to you by the Banana Collection.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me on a cheapy edition of the greatest channel on the internet for the coolest toys. Yes, this is a very, very rare, cheap toy. Cheap and rare for this channel to demo a cheap toy. But you know what? He's a lovely toy. He's a beautifully designed toy, as a matter of fact. So as always, kick back in your lazy boy. You know what? We will use a lazy boy as a euphemism for all your seating options, right? Whether it's the cubicle, the high chair, the bar stool, the kitchen, the living room, whatever it is. That'll be, from now on, that's lazy boy will encompass all of them, even those fancy ergonomic chairs. And you know what? If it's morning, maybe it's not morning, but if it is, grab yourself a cup of coffee so you could wake the heck up, man. Wake up. So add a little cream and sugar if you're so inclined and clank it a bit. Maybe you're a tea drinker and you could put a splash of honey in there and grab a snack. And now focus and pay attention, because we're going to discuss a Zathura tin robot. And you know what? Kind of shocking that they made an all-new, very cool design tin robot. You know, I've been wanting one of these for so friggin' long. And you know, when they came out by Schylling, they were about $29.99, $30. And as a matter of fact, you could see here, this one, which I'll show you the box in a sec, it was $33.99. But clever, astute dealers grab them all, and they're like, we're marking these up to $75. And then people that bought them from the dealers, and all of a sudden they further marked them up. The tertiary market kicked in, and then they were marked up to $100, and then $150. And that's pretty much where they've plateaued between, you could still get lucky and get one from 75 all the way to about 150-ish. Sometimes you'll get some loon asking 200, and sometimes you'll find one for under 100. So they've stabilized in value. But you know what? At the end of the day, even if you have to pay, $1.50 for it, it's not bad, because you know what? It's a really good looking robot. Now, I remember watching this movie with my kids, and from what I recall, because I can't even remember when the movie came out, had to be over 20 years ago, maybe. I hope that's right. Well, if it wasn't, I still can't remember. But it sort of reminded me, if I have my movies correct, it was like a Jumanji in space. They were playing a game and all these wacky things would appear. That's sort of my recollection. So they'd play this game and then they were in like outer space, and then weird things would manifest like this robot. So anyway, I thought the movie was pretty cool, but I can't remember much, but that's because it was more like of a children-focused movie, in my opinion. But the retro elements are what I appreciated, like obviously the robot and the rockets. So, and the theming, like if you ask me, do you want to watch Jumanji with lions and tigers or Zathura? I would take Zathura head and shoulders, because I like sci-fi theming. Now, anyway, let's look at the box. The one thing I'm so happy. Now, could they have done a little bit better? Yeah, but you know what? At least they went with a graphic box like I'm showing here. Now, check this out. 33 from Niagara. Was that Niagara Falls? Who the heck knows? Maybe it was a department store. You probably know better than me. And it's so unfortunate that we live in this litigious society where you have to put these disclaimers like caution, arms are fragile, handle with care, ages 8 and up, because parents are not smart enough, I guess, according to the manufacturers and the legal departments and all these corporations, that you can't give a kid a toy and just watch them and if he chokes on your toy, it's the manufacturer's fault, because you could put disclaimers on anything. What if they swallow a teaspoon? Did they have a children's warning against don't buy this silverware because, or put the disclaimer, ages 8 and up. Make sure your kid doesn't swallow the teaspoon or some, a thimble. If you're so anyway, you get what I'm saying. But they opted to do a graphic box. Thank God it wasn't a window box. Now, I will show you this. I hate to take this out. Sometimes it breaks. But there's a styrofoam. The styrofoam also itself is embossed with a Zathura on here. So, I mean, if it matters to you, the rest of it's plain. But if you are like somebody that cares about every detail, it's not only Zathura, but it almost has like these rivet details. And it is kind of cool. So, if you're buying and you do end up paying top dollar, make sure you get the correct styrofoam in the box, because you might get somebody that didn't have that and then you're disappointed. Well, now you know at least. So they have the accurate photo of the robot, which is pretty cool. And then you have this more, I don't know how to describe this, basic art style. Like you see this. It looks almost primary, like something you would see in a child's mobile, So to me, they could have went a little bit more detail and more retro on the graphics. I do like the lettering is cool. Kind of gives you that movie marquee. Even this lettering here is pretty cool. It's very retro. But look, it's better than, most toys. And even the side panels kind of harkens back. They got the Saturn on there. Anything is better than a new window box. Or it could have been even a plain box. So, of course, you got these same rockets here. Kind of retro futurism, Too many primary colors for my taste. But, to me, if you're going to do any kind of art design anyway, you could actually, go full retro. And in the back, the adventure is waiting. And what does it say here? This collectible tin robot is a reproduction of the classic character from the film Zathura. He's big and tough and yada, yada, yada. His mission is to destroy all alien life forms, including the evil Zorgon aliens. Well, technically aren't... Oh, so okay, here we go. 2005. So I was close. That was 18 years ago. Columbia Pictures, which was bought by Sony. I remember when Sony bought Columbia, reading an article that like all the producers and directors basically read Sony the Riot Act that like, we're going to do things our way or we'll quit. They kind of strong-armed Sony. Now it's probably like, we will make our woke movies and don't mess with us. But anyway, that's the year, at least, that it came out, 2005, and the description of the plot, if you will. And I guess we weren't alien to what's his name again? Does he have a name? No. He's just a tough robot. So the one thing about this robot is that it didn't utilize any tin pressing that I'm aware of. Everything on here is essentially unique, which is really, really odd, because this must have cost a bundle. I mean, in all honesty, you would expect that they would have cribbed some parts from other toys, but they didn't, and I'm wondering if they ultimately, have this body, this bulbous round body. Is this used on anything else? Maybe a different kind of toy? I mean, it is really odd that they would tool up for this and only this. So I'm wondering if there's other toys that have any of these features, because if not, that's kind of wild. So you can see the bottom here, Schylling. Anyway, so I think he's really good looking. I like this kind of Art Deco style. Again, it's retro futuristic. And he has a nice presence to him, nice heft. It makes me think, how would this have looked like lithographed, even though in the movie he was essentially a steal. But you could take some liberties, man. This would be really kick-ass if you put some litho details on here. Maybe I'll go to Schylling and say, hey, Schylling, could I reinterpret your Zathura robot? That would be a nice exclusive to offer for the collection. What do you think? Let me know on that. But anyway, so now will he work? Let's wind him up. And his key, by the way, is even emblazoned with Zathura on it. Whoopsie daisy. It's a big key. And he walks like the movie, menacingly, scowling, angrily. And those claws look very sinister, like he's ready to clip something and rip the flesh off of it. This way, big guy. That's it? Come on, you got a little more. Let's give him one more wind up. So, I'm telling you, this would look great on almost anyone's shelf. And I'm not a huge advocate of newer robots, but man, I'll tell you, for $100 to $150, if you want one new toy to put on your shelf, this would be definitely a nice choice. Because there's nothing that really looks quite like this. And it is a movie robot. Now, in conclusion, you mean there's a conclusion to this story? You haven't rambled on enough yet? There is a conclusion to this. I have a collector friend that alleges to have the full-size prop to this. Now, I thought most of this was CGI, but he did send me a photo, and it looks like what you would expect the Stan Winston studio to create. You know, maybe they have some practical effects with props. So it is pretty cool, and it looks huge. Now, is it the actual prop that was used in the movie? I don't know, because I have no idea that they even use props. But if it is, it's pretty cool. Would I want it? I don't know. You need a spot for it. The problem with props is they're made just for shots, for particular scenes, particular shots at particular angles. So in totality, as a whole, looking at them, they may not be that appealing, especially if they have pneumatic tubes running everywhere, other kind of wires and apparatus to make them move. So you'd have to take that into consideration because the display might be messy and just not look that good. And if they are running off pneumatic tubes, unless you have a compressor somewhere that you're willing to run, they're never going to operate. So that's the other part of it. But nonetheless, my friends, I will conclude with this. If you're a lurker, please subscribe first and foremost. And if you like this video, please thumb it up and share it in other social media sites like, I don't know, Instagram, Twitter, wherever the hell you go that might want to see something like this. A Zathura fan club, for instance. And with that, I greatly appreciate your time. And thanks again for joining me. And I will talk to you later.